Okay, so next we have Arjun from Toronto Youth Cabinet who will be speaking. Arjun is a recent graduate from the Future Leaders Pathway program at RH King Academy, a high school located in the east end of City of Toronto. Arjun has dedicated the last 2 years of advocating for youth issues and enabling youth to be involved in municipal politics through his position as an executive at the Toronto Youth Cabinet. Along with being the chair at Toronto Youth Cabinet this year, Arjun is the manager of community relations at Count Me In, the largest youth-led charity in North America. He is also a board of directors member at Sakara Spice, and a community servant organization within the City of Toronto, and the manager of strategic plan at Gen Z Youth Solutions. Arjun's experience in the charity and nonprofit sector enables him to understand youth issues at both a community and policy level. Looking forward to the future, Arjun hopes to continue his active role in advocacy as he transitions to Ryerson this fall, enrolled in a double degree program for business management and urban planning. Arjun?
Sweet. I'm actually going to stand up for the presentation throughout because I have a couple activities that I wanted to engage some of you with, and just so you can see it a little bit clearly, I'm standing next to it. Sure. Oh, okay, okay. Is it on? Yep. Sweet. So, I'm from the Toronto Youth Cabinet, and just a quick show of hands, who here has ever heard of the Toronto Youth Cabinet before? Okay, cool. So a good portion of people in the room. And I'm just going to run through the quick mission of what the TYC does. If you guys could go to the next slide, please. We were established in 1998 by City Council, and a quick way to say a big thing is that we were mandated to represent the youth voice, and we're located inside City Hall for that reason. And so we are funded by the City of Toronto, but we by no means do anything that the City of Toronto wants us to do necessarily. So if we completely disagree with what the City Council is doing, we'll publicly go against it, and we're always there to advocate for youth issues and see what the youth are saying directly in the communities that we're serving. And we work with city councilors, city departments, and just community groups and youth-serving organizations. I know some of the community groups that are in here today, like Saya, we've worked with in the past for the last couple of years as well. So it's great to see everyone out here today. We serve youth ages of the age of 13 to 24 years old, and that's about 330,000 youth today in the city, and that's not only residents that live here, that's residents that live, work, and play in the City of Toronto, and so we try to represent them as best as possible, web campaigns and things like that, and so we do try our best, and I hope that if you haven't heard of us today, hopefully that you can go back to your communities and tell some youth, young people, what we're doing, and that certain ways that they can get involved. Next slide, please. A lot of you are probably wondering exactly how many youth we target and how we do this. On this slide, I have a couple quick stats on events that we've, or organizations that we partner with, and some things that we've done. And in total, last year, we targeted, we had a direct engagement of 6,500 young people. And so that means that's a 6,500 not only through, oh, I'm just going to tweet this out to my 2,500 web followers on Twitter. That means that 6,500 people we were on the ground with, we've shaken your hand, and we've talked to you about issues and advocacy results and things like that through direct consultation like this today. We had about 5,100 people through Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And I'm going to tell you a couple more ways that you can keep engaged with us later in the presentation today. But in total, we had an engagement last year from June of 2014 to June of 2015 of about 11,500. And we're looking to bring that to at least 20,000 by the end of next June 2016. So again, if anyone in your communities is interested in getting involved with the Cabinet, please feel free to tweet us, get involved with us via email, and we'll be happy to talk to you and to get you involved with the Cabinet. Next slide. I'm going to play a quick game. I know Laura touched base on some of the youth engagement barriers and things like that, but I want to give a game to show where we currently stand with youth engagement today, and just kind of how to get on the other end of that. And so can I have a volunteer by any chance? Anyone willing to come up on stage? Anyone else? I want to get the most amount of people. Come on, let's put your hands up.
Oh, can I come?
Yeah, for sure, you can come. Ramsen, it's fine if I walk around.
Yeah, as long as the forward should be there.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, more volunteers.
Sure, I need one more water bottle. My friend has it. Can I grab it? Oh, do you? Okay, sweet.
Not have water bottles?
No, oh, we do. We have water bottle. Yeah, could you give me that?
Water bottle loaded.
Whoever has water bottles, I guess they can come up. Thank you. They are sealed though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you guys want to come to the front? Just so you guys know.
Hi Henry, I'm John.
Anton.
Sorry? Anton and John.
Hello. Sweet, so we're going to do something very quickly. I'm going to ask you which is your dominant hand, right or left?
Right.
Right? Okay, sweet. Let's get the water bottles in your left hand. Put it up in front, right like this. Straight. Take your right hand, put it on top of the water bottle. Let's get that cap undone. Let's put the caps on the table, please. Sweet. So now let's take our right hands in the air. Let's put them right behind our back. Now, the challenge for you is to keep your left hand straight and get the water from the bottle into your mouth.
Straw.
No. And the audience can feel free to chime in. Keep in mind my wording. I've only put their hand behind their back, but they can do whatever they want.
Make a triangle and drink from the other side. Hold it upside down.
Now you lifted it. Sorry, buddy.
Guys, okay. I'm gonna give you guys a quick hint.
Game over.
Hold it upside down and go under it.
No.
That sounds messy.
That's gonna work. Yeah. Well, you gotta keep your mouth open.
You can use your right hand. Oh yeah.
Your
hand.
Left hand has to stay straight though, right?
Left hand has to stay straight. And I never, if you guys listen to my wording, I said we're gonna put your right hand behind your back, but I never said anything after that.
So we can use our right
I'm
hand.
not saying yes or no. You guys can try.
That's a work solution.
Keep your left hand.
Keep your left hand.
Sweet. So we got it. So how hard is that?
A little tricky.
It kind of said no shame.
It's always interesting to see how that game turns out. I played it I played it from young people as young as in grade 7, and I played it to professionals that work in RBC Capital Markets. And it was funny seeing the first couple of minutes when you guys are trying to get that water in your mouth, and you guys are switching positions and seeing who could get into whose. And it was so easy just to bring your right hand out, take the bottle, keep your left hand straight, and drink it. And the most funny situation that I've actually had with that game is a banker from RBC Capital Markets say, I'm going to spill this water on the ground and drink it from the ground. And that's my explanation for why the economy is where it stands today. But the whole point of that game was to ideally not spill the water. I've had people spill the water, like I said again, but I did forget the newspaper today and I didn't really want to mess up the venue. But the point of that game was, youth today, we're always told that everything is one way, and we're not told that we can change it. And so the reason I actually put your hands behind your back was because I told you guys something was one way, and I wanted to see how many of you were willing to say, challenge that. And I never said you can't move your hand from behind your back. And so if you could go to the next slide, please. And yeah, like I said, youth are told everything is one way, and how many times have you wanted to do something? And we also saw this on stage when Tom had yelled out, use your right hand. No one was going to do it because they weren't sure if it was allowed. And how many times have you had an idea that you wanted to do and you said, I'm just going to sit on this one a little bit longer. And I'm not going to do it just yet because I'm not sure if I'm allowed to. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this right. And we sit on these ideas and we smother them, and we lose that drive to do them. And a lot of the time we look back at it later and we see that the collaboration that we could have had with other community groups, with other great people that are doing things, other politicians that are running for office, we lose that ability to collaborate with them, and we lose that ability to get these projects going and get our voices heard. And so what you saw on stage, and my presentation is going to focus on what you hear a lot of the time in campaigns, we need change. we currently in Canada need a revolution, in my opinion. And I want to get the ideas of revolution and evolution very clear out in the open. Revolution, by dictionary, is the first time something happens differently. Evolution is everything that takes place after that. And so that's what my presentation is going to be centralized on, and we're going to talk about a little bit of a story in the next slide, please. And so just this past Saturday, I began to understand the power of stories. And the reason I understood this, or the reason I started to get an understanding of how valuable and how meaningful stories are, is through the Toronto Youth Cabinet's training that we had this Saturday. And it was facilitated, a workshop by the Jack Layton School of Facilitation, I believe. And they came in and they taught us about stories and how to develop stories and how to tell stories. And it was, at the time, I didn't really value it. I'll be completely honest. I was tired and I didn't want to take part in it. But after reflecting on what I had learned, I remembered a story that I heard in grade 10 from a speaker named Ryan Porter. And he's one of my mentors to this day, and I still work with him, and we still do speaking sessions together sometimes. And I want to tell you a story that he told me the first time I had met him. There's 3 construction workers, Bob, Sam, and Paul. And every single day they would go onto the skyscraper in downtown Toronto that they were building at the time, and they would go on and hang from a beam and have lunch together. And what happened was, every single day they came and they had the same type of lunch. They had a sandwich. Sam had a turkey sandwich every single day for lunch. So one day Sam goes, "Man, a turkey sandwich again? If I have turkey one more time, I'm gonna jump off this building." And then Bob goes, and he opens up his lunchbox. "Man, ham again? I'm gonna jump off this building too." Now Paul's sitting there a little bit nervous, thinking about it. And Paul opens his lunch, and he's like, "You guys are a little bit crazy if you guys want to jump off for that reason." Paul opens his sandwich bread apart, and he goes, "Man, peanut butter again. I swear, if I get peanut butter one more time, I'm gonna jump off the building." Next day, same skyscraper, same lunch. They're all sitting together. Sam opens up his lunchbox. "Man, turkey again? I swear this is it." Puts his lunchbox to the side, jumps off. Now Bob's sitting there, opens his bread apart, and he goes, and he sees ham. And he goes, "This is it, last time, I'm out." Jumps off. Now Paul's sitting there like, "Man, I shouldn't have done it." But Paul brings out his lunchbox, opens it up, looks at the bread, peanut butter. Paul jumps off the building. Now a couple days later at their funerals, their wives are all talking to each other, and the wives are going, "Oh, if they didn't want it, I could have made them anything else for lunch. I don't know why they didn't tell me." And Sam's wife is saying, "Yeah, I would have made Sam anything else for lunch. He never told me." Paul's wife is there. I don't know why Paul was angry. Paul was making his own lunch. And you guys can go to the next slide as well. So I tell this story a lot, and it's not my story, it is Ryan's story, but I go around and I say it a lot to people. But we always try to talk about the type of person Paul is, and we always say that, "Paul, what an idiot. Who makes their own lunch every single day that they don't like, and they know they don't like it, and they still make it, and they still eat it, but then it frustrates them every single day?" We're all Paul. We all do things every single day that we hate. We all deal with things every single day, whether it's transit, whether it's anything in your communities, anything bullying in your schools. We all deal with things that we hate and we don't want to deal with, but we don't do anything about it. And my point is that in a revolution, a lot of the time we think of waving flags, we think of the civil rights movement, we think that, oh man, I can't do that. I can't lead million-man marches to do something. And it goes back to the saying, revolution is not possible until you make your own lunch, until you realize that there's no one else in front of you telling you to do something some way. You can do whatever you want. And if you could go to the next slide as well, please. And so we always forget what there's other connotations to the word revolution. And revolution can go down to meaning something as small as a little gear and moving on to another little gear to make something big happen. And that's a picture of the insides of a watch. And so no different from the one I'm wearing today. There's tons of little gears in my watch right now working together with other little gears and other little gears and other little springs and gears that are connected to the hands, moving the hands together to tell me the time. That's a revolution happening right in front of you. And every single person in this room today has the ability to be those little gears that we're talking about and that we see in a watch. in the bigger way. And when all these little gears shift together, smaller and smaller and smaller, you see the Earth move in a totally different way that's never spun before. And so that's the advantage that youth have through being engaged in politics. And I know Laura had mentioned in her presentation that youth are 11% more engaged than other demographics in society. But you lose that position when it comes to voting. And through doing consultations directly for the last 2 years with the Toronto Youth Cabinet, I've realized that youth always say, my opinion doesn't matter. I can't do anything about it. Youth don't care. And that's what I wanted to stress to you today. We're all those little gears that can make it happen. And you can go to the next slide. I'm probably going to go over. But just to end it off, I want to say that the Toronto Youth Cabinet does want to work with every single one of you. We're that group that takes gears and springs and makes it into a watch. And so I do want you all to get involved. We have monthly meetings at City Hall, and we're trying to branch them out into other locations in the city. So please feel free to tweet us at TO Youth Cabinet if you want us to come to your community to ever do anything regarding youth engagement. If you want to hear from us what we're doing directly with projects, feel free to tweet us. Follow us on Instagram as well. We just got that account last week, so we are trying to push it a little bit. And we're free to always collaborate on projects, and you can always count on having a voice when you work with the Toronto Youth Cabinet. And so I have one more slide, and I want to leave you with one quick saying. You are the tiny little gears that make revolution possible, so never let anyone, any politician tell you otherwise. Thank you so much.